Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to Forgotten Cinema's 30-Second Ad. Forgotten Cinema is a podcast where we talk about films that, for a variety of reasons, seem to have been forgotten by audiences. We talk notes about production and release, why we believe these films were forgotten, and whether or not we think they're worth a revisit. Forgotten Cinema is available wherever you listen to your podcast and on ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com. So grab your popcorn and soda. Please notice exits are available at the front and rear of the auditorium. And be sure to check out Forgotten Cinema.
Hey there, this is John from Pint Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pint Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as...
filthy.
Okay.
Reprehensible?
Crude?
Sure.
Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in.
All right, welcome to your 131st episode, our 3-year anniversary episode of Pint O Quarantine. April 23rd, 2017. A couple of younger guys named Sir John and Johnny Ganache set out on a mission to talk pop culture weekly, and we brought the Manster along. 75 episodes in. Yeah, the old guy. 75 episodes in. We knighted him, made him official. And here we are 3 years later in separate rooms, afraid to touch each other for what each one of us may have crawling around inside of our bodies. It's a very confusing time still, but we're here on Zoom doing a recording. So, guys, first of all, Sir John, how are you holding up in the desolation of just being home most of the time? I know you're working too, but we're all working to some extent, but
that's all right. I mean, I'm a gamer, so as many of the memes have been going around, it's like, yeah, we're gamers. We're already self-isolated. So this is no big deal. It's a little weird when you go out, but it's nothing that anyone can't handle. Anyone that can't handle it, you should start seeing therapy, which you can get over channels like the, I forget we're not doing video, but you can use these Zoom channels to do whatever you want. So.
Yeah, you can talk to your therapist. You can have gaming sessions, which we've done with Movie Buff, with Brian, DJ Cheshire Cat.
Our Monday night game group has switched over to the same thing. We're just doing it remotely at this point.
What is that, Roll20.net?
We use Roll20, but we're also using a WebEx program, which is similar to Zoom, because Roll20, while it has some great benefits to gaming, it also has a lot of limitations. It's not very good when it comes to video and audio interface. It's kind of limited. So
right,
and especially when you have 12 people in there.
Yeah, we played Saturday night or Friday night. We played Movie Buff with about 8 people, and it worked well, but you could see where the more people involved could be like this. I paid for a month of Zoom for us to use this, and then to hopefully not have to go too far beyond that. But I can technically invite 100 people on to do this show. It's hard over 3 people. 100 people.
I'm pretty sure it frees up
more people.
The problem is a lot of people hook into these things and they don't go in and fix their settings. So then there's an echo going on. There's their volume control, so their microphone volumes are too high, which spikes, so you can't hear what they're saying. If they're using the speakers on their laptop or computer or whatever, that may cause a feedback. And I've seen it all. I was on a chat last night with Mark Evanier, and there were 22 people in there, and it was difficult.
Chaotic.
It was very difficult.
I'm still trying to figure out the microphone thing, and I've edited 2 of the episodes we've done this way, and each one of us, me more than others on some of them, certain points just drop out a little bit. And I sometimes will listen to podcasts that do stuff remotely all the time, and in my head go, why can't they get this shit right? And now I'm realizing that it's a whole nother thing. Like when we sit in the same room,
Well, it
I
makes you
control
appreciate
everything.
the ones that do, and they do sound well. Some of them sound really good.
Yeah, some of them I listen to. I'll give them a shout out. The Countdown podcast out of Australia. I listened to their latest episode this week, and at the end of it, they had said they weren't in the same room. Sounded just like they were in the same room.
Yeah.
Like I had no clue. I thought, oh, maybe they're close enough that they don't have to isolate or anything. No, they fucking at the end of it said, if this sounds weird, we're not in the same room. I'm like, oh Jesus, it sounds perfect.
We got a lot to learn.
Yeah,
and my lovely camera. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it keeps like
What's it
focusing in and out.
yeah, it does a little adjustment. Yeah,
because I'm sitting in, and this thing's in my lap. So if I jostle it, it gets freaky.
freaky.
Got the lap jostle going on.
Lap jostle.
Not that anyone listening to this can see any of that.
No.
Yeah.
Manster, how are you holding up?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm still working just like you. Funny thing, not so funny actually. We've had our first case of COVID positive testing in my plant.
In your building?
Yeah, in my building. Yep.
Uh-oh.
So we had done a 2 days off for deep cleaning this weekend. Started Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday were off. And then the note came out on Monday that somebody had been tested positive, but that was 10 days prior. They haven't been to the plant in 10 days. So I think the cleaning took care of it. Everything's good. We're all wearing masks. Everybody's separated.
That's kind of the situation that happened with the radio station. Is you get the announcement days later that someone's tested positive. Who knows how many people they may have infected or anything?
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
I don't know.
I had a part-time kid last week at my work. His full-time job, he's a good kid, but he's not the brightest star on the fucking top of the tree. He comes in for his shift, and we're bullshitting. We were not close. He's on the other side of this at a lunch table, and I just said to him, "What's new?" And he said he works for a very large company that you could buy things off the internet. And
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? JB runs the whole thing, and he says, "Yeah, we just had the first positive case in my warehouse." And I said, "I got to let you know right now that I need you to leave." And he just looked at me, and I said, "No, seriously."
Yep.
I said, "You got to go. You got to go right now." I said, "I'll pay you." I said, "You got to go, and I'm not putting you on the schedule again for 2.5 weeks." So I've been keeping in contact with him, texting him. He's okay. Hopefully he stays okay. But you can't fuck around with that,
No, I got sent home.
Yeah, you got sent home for a couple weeks because of the radio station. Yeah.
And that was two steps away, 3 steps away, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was way at the beginning of it too, right?
yeah,
That was a while ago. Yeah.
at this point it was a month ago, but
Yeah.
So
Other than that, I'm holding up, having a lot of fun with the kids. We had a barbecue for Easter.
Nice. Traditional.
Played,
Very traditional.
hide and seek. Yeah, right. Yeah. We played hide and seek. We played red light, green light. A lot of fun.
Did you barbecue a ham?
I actually had ham today, but no, there was just chicken barbecue on Easter.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into some business. Let's get into some entertaining the folks out there. But before we start entertaining, I guess we got to talk some more sad stuff. John, let's talk about Mad Magazine and a certain legacy of someone that just passed away. What happened at this point a week and a half ago?
it wasn't quite that far ago, but Mort Drucker, a famous caricaturist of Mad Magazine, has passed on at the age of 91. I think even when I mentioned it then, it's like even if you've never read Mad Magazine, you know Mort Drucker's work. He had done so many movie posters or album covers or whatever. The guy was a master of the caricaturist and just a real mainstay of American pop culture. It's a sad thing to lose the guy, but 91 got a good run in there.
Was he working up to the end?
No, he retired from Mad.
He
He had retired from Mad a few years ago, and replaced by a younger guy whose work you guys might have seen it. He's been at the New York Comic Con. He was there the last year I went. So whatever that was, 3-4 years ago now. I forget the guy's name off the top of my head, but just phenomenal. So they did a good job replacing Mort.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and of course, Mad Magazine is no more.
Right.
Well, it's still being
Reprint
published,
magazine, but as a reprint.
It's a reprint, and I have to wonder how long that'll last, but I don't really know.
How long is anything going to last right now in the comic book world? I guess that's something to talk about too, John.
Yeah,
And I know you pay attention heavily to that stuff. What is happening in the world of Diamond distributors and?
Well, it's not just Diamond. It's Diamond being the sole North American distributor of comic books and pop culture stuff. They're because of the coronavirus. Because of Rona, because of Rona, they've shut down indefinitely. They just announced today or yesterday that they've furloughed the majority of their employees. So no one knows when comics will be distributed again.
I heard no sooner than August.
That's seems to be the thing of it. They haven't really announced that to the public yet, but that's the word going around is that August is the go-to date, but we'll see.
That is 3 months.
Yeah.
That's 3 months from now. I mean, I could survive. I have stacks and stacks.
I've got
that
so
I
many
read.
books, yeah.
But
I've spent I spent a bunch of money buying up from back issue sellers across the internet just to fill in gaps that I haven't done over the last few years.
right.
And of course,
Good time to do that, yeah.
well, I buy from a place called mycomicshop.com for my back issues because I really trust them.
Yeah.
They do good.
They're out of Texas, right?
They're out of Texas.
Yeah, I bought from them.
Yeah, so I get
I
an
get a
order in.
weekly email from those guys.
Right. So I get my first order in. I'm like, oh, great. I can finally start reading some of my old Atomic Robos that have been piling up. And as soon as I get the package in the mail, they get shut down by the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Hey,
Jeez.
So I don't know when they're going to open up again. But yeah, I mean, for those guys out there that still have stores open, try and buy stuff from your local shop if you can. I mean,
Yeah.
the stuff I'm looking for, I can't find locally. So that's
I did
the
some
problem.
curbside from BoomTube last week.
Yeah.
yeah, he's
So-
doing the curbside.
Yeah.
I've gone up twice. Every 2 weeks I've gone up, and even I make it a point because I love Dan and I want him to do well to even go up and buy something. I bought a trade last week.
Yeah.
I just went up. I didn't even know what I wanted. I just said, what do you have? I can't go inside. And he's like, well, I got this, this, and this. I said, just get me that. Because, I feel bad for these retailers and, 3 months. That's what people come in for is new release comics.
Your new releases are your bread and butter. This is going to change the industry a lot at the end of it. If Diamond actually survives this, because there's a question there. If they don't survive it, who's going to pick up the ball and run with it? There's no distributor out there that can handle every single comic shop and every publisher in the country right now.
What is it? Alternatives going direct sales, right? Direct to store.
You have to. But the only other problem is the printers aren't printing. So
True.
So
how do you get new material to people if the printers aren't printing?
does this mean, though, just out of curiosity, because I don't know how this works, Marvel, DC, let's use those as an example. They've got these writers and artists on the payroll. I would assume because writers and artists generally work at home anyway, this is probably a pretty good chance to get ahead of the work, right? I mean, are they they're still moving, right?
Yeah,
I
they've
would
got books to
imagine.
work on.
I would imagine. I mean, Disney just laid off a good portion of their Disney, was it the Disney World, Disneyland, those entertainment groups? They just laid off a large portion of those people. I mean, movies are shut down. Movie theaters are shut down. Movie theaters may not survive this. Movies are going to change completely from this. Television, the streaming services. Look at. Just think about how many of these streaming services that started up just before this,
Right.
trying to get their little piece of pie, and now you got
I
all
know
these
people have
at
already
home.
bought stock in Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. A little
Good
too
luck.
late now.
Good luck. But it's just there's so much change that may happen because of however long this thing may last. Comic books, I don't know. I know DC and Marvel have said that they're not going to publish digitally anything that was supposed to be released physically. If they were smart, I don't know if I said this in one of the earlier podcasts. If they were smart, they would get off their ass and put out some original digital content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them. They've got the capability of doing it. They may or may not have the money at this point, but if you don't put it out there, you're not going to have any money.
Just like they keep doing like a secondary Batman title or a Batman title that only comes out in Walmart.
Yeah.
Have one that comes out digitally.
Just
and
digitally.
Make some money, you know?
You can do it. It's not
And then you could double dip, because when this is all over, you could start printing them as the second version. They'll be all over.
Oh yeah. Well, what few people are going to be left after this? Because with the sheer amount of people out of work, going to get jobs back. Who knows how many businesses are going to survive this? So people will get their jobs back. This is a big deal. Very, very big deal.
I read something, a headline, so I don't want to get into factoids because I do that sometimes. I'll read the headline, but I read a headline today that I can't remember if it was the New York Times or one of the news agencies out there, said that they're estimating that there's going to have to be some form of social distancing through 2022 to keep this from becoming a yearly thing. So again, I didn't read the whole thing, but I'm assuming because I've heard the fact that they're saying that, we don't know.
It's going to come in waves.
It's going to come in waves.
This could be like the wave.
Flu. This could be like the flu.
Yeah.
We have COVID season where for 3 months we're all indoors, wearing masks and shit.
Science will prevail in the end result. This unfortunately was not unprecedented. It just was handled really poorly, and we'll reap the ramifications as we go. But
yeah,
it sucks. It sucks for a lot of people.
Yeah,
it sucks for all the people that we follow.
A learning curve.
Yeah. Well,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Before we get to the politics of it, which we steer clear of on this show.
Yes, let's steer clear of the politics. But we all know what happened. We all know what's going on,
and it's continuing to happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. All right, Manster, got a question for you.
Yeah.
Shoot. Have you been watching any movies? Anything pass your way? Have you rented any of the movies that are release only?
I'm going to have to say, no, I haven't. I have not been watching any movies, with the exception of one. I went on Shudder last week and I watched Transfiguration.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
The Transfiguration.
The Transfiguration. Yeah.
Yeah. With the little boy there. Yeah, that was good. It was a slow burn kind of movie. It wasn't a lot going on. Our friend Brian Spears was involved in that.
Yes, he was.
That?
Yep.
Yeah, his name came up. It's a quote unquote vampire movie.
Yeah, Larry had it on his top 5. No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Larry,
was that in his top 5 or was that in his also ran?
No, that was in his top.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Are you excited, Lloyd, that tonight one of your favorite shows is returning?
What is tonight? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Flat meeting.
Oh, is that tonight?
Yeah, it starts tonight.
Oh, I did. Oh, wow.
What is that?
Then.
What the hell are you talking about?
I guess I'll...
The Baron. Get the Baron.
You can't tell what he's doing?
The Baron? No.
What we do in the shadows.
Yeah. Oh, is that tonight?
That's tonight, yeah.
Oh,
what
my
time
God.
Is this call end?
That'll date our show when we release it.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to watch that.
About 2 weeks before this all happened, Corona, just regular viewing, I finally finished the first season because of What We Do in the Shadows. Because it popped up on everything on Hulu, or everything on FX is on Hulu now. So I watched the last 4 episodes that I hadn't seen yet. And I mean, this gets in the spoiler territory, but that's okay. The fact that they're tying Guillermo into the Van Helsing family is fucking hilarious. And the fact that he keeps on accidentally killing vampires and doing all these things. That show that's back to, what's crazy is
we're past that, Wesley. We're past that.
Not a lot of fanfare with that.
It's not a lot of fanfare. Not just that, but it's also a part of this whole Corona thing is that I do remember seeing a placard or a poster online saying returns in April. I don't even know it's fucking April right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the days are really weird.
I'm still convinced it's February.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's been very weird. How about those gas prices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're dropping good.
Craziness. Well, I've rented 3 at my wife's behest. I've rented 3 of the theatrical release movies. So they're $20 a piece.
So
And
I
I
already
can
know that you saw The Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man, we talked about that. It was okay.
Yep.
Not great. We watched The Hunt. No.
Oh, okay.
Skip The Hunt.
No?
It's very heavily political. It's not
What is
good.
The Hunt?
It's it's essentially the greatest game. It's a bunch of people hunting a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But it turns out that it's liberals. It turns out that it's liberals hunting either right wing or conservative people. It tries very
I
hard.
don't need that in my life.
Tries very hard to have a bunch of points, and it's not very good. The 2 leads in it, it's essentially Hilary Swank is the bad guy, and the girl from Glow, the blonde, Betty Gilpin, who I do like her.
Yeah.
She's the heroine of the movie. The one thing the movie did that I liked was it had a couple of recognizable actors in it that when you see them, you might not know their name, but you go, oh, I know this one, and they kill them like right away. So it was kind of clever because you're like, you figure, okay, I'm going to follow this person through the whole movie, and within 2 scenes, they're dead. So I thought that was kind of cool. Not good. And then the third one, have you ever seen Impractical Jokers, the show?
Yeah.
I like Impractical Jokers.
We like that show in here.
My wife loves it. So she said, let's rent the movie. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad.
That's disappointing.
Because what they do is instead of just making a movie where they do the show, where they go out and they do that, they add a narrative to it, and it's so fucking bad.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, and so that's $60 that we're not going to get back. So I'm going to be a little bit more, I guess, cautious on the renting.
Did you ever see the one in the on the TV show with the straws?
I don't know.
Impractical Jokers. So they have to go into a restaurant. They're given a different kind of straw, either a tiny straw or a really 10-foot long straw.
Yes.
One that's about like 6 inches wide, and they have to take drinks out of people's drink.
Yes, I have seen that. And of course, my favorite, if you've ever seen,
it was so funny.
Scoopski potatoes. If you've ever seen that, yeah, very good. But yeah, avoid the movie. Avoid it for free. Avoid it at all costs. John, what are you watching? Were you on NCIS season 74 yet?
No, I did. What did I finish? I finished Entourage finally.
I don't think I ever finished that.
I finally finished that. It was all right.
It's better than the movie.
Did you watch the movie or no?
I didn't. I wanted to, but I'm not paying Amazon $4 to watch a movie about crap that I already watched. So
yeah,
I was just like, nah, I'll wait on that one. So I'm in no hurry. What else was I watching? Not a lot. I mean, I haven't watched any movies or anything of that nature. Nothing new. I finally watched the new Star Wars movie. I'm glad I didn't go see it in the theater. Yeah, nothing really. It's just throwback stuff. Prime put all the old Bond movies up, so I've been watching those when I have time.
Yeah,
I noticed that. You
mentioned that you forgot how From Russia with Love is just a bore fest. It is. It's a total.
I forgot. It's been so long since I've seen it. I forgot how bad it was.
Yeah,
just not bad. Just not engaging. It's so strange how dull.
The best part of that movie is the fight on the train.
I saw that.
The train fight is the best part of that movie. Otherwise,
that's about it. Yeah. It's such a shame. Yeah, I really didn't remember that, but that's part of the thing about diving into the older films.
So, John, do you watch Better Call Saul?
Me?
No.
Either John. I was talking to Sir John, but
I do, but I'm a season behind.
Oh, you're way behind.
I've
been enjoying that. He just broke bad in the latest episode. Okay. Saul just broke bad.
Oh, okay. All right.
I never watched Breaking Bad. Never watched that. It's just it's just not one of those shows that intrigues me in any way.
I love Breaking Bad. Lindsay's watching Ozark. I got to be honest. Everybody goes on about that. So she's been watching it, and I'm in the room reading. She said to me, "She goes, mind if I watch Ozark?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead." So like 4 different occasions, I've been in the room reading while she's watching it. And the 4th time, I said to her, I said, after all the hype about this show, I'm relieved that I didn't watch it with you because it's not that fucking involving. It's not very good.
I didn't like it either. I might go back at some point when I'm really bored, but yeah, there's nothing there that really intrigued me in any way.
Is there someone big in that show?
Jason Bateman, Laura Linney.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Laura Linney's in it.
You hate her. Yeah, you hate her.
I am not a fan. I did watch The Outsider.
Oh
yeah, I
also
love
with
that
Jason
show.
Bateman.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, he's in the first few episodes and then he's gone. But I haven't seen the last episode yet. But yeah, I watched most of that. It's interesting. The performances are good. I think that's because the story itself is like, okay, I didn't realize it was a Stephen King story until I was about 2 episodes in. I was like, oh, that's why it feels like this. Okay, it's definitely
it's
King.
Stephen Kingy with the with the supernatural stuff going on.
Yeah, it's weird. It's goofy. I like the performances. There's not a lot of really well-known people in it.
Okay.
So that really intrigued me, and I like the interaction of the characters quite a bit. So
Right. You like the Holly Gibney character?
yeah, she's not terrible. There are times I like her more than others.
Right.
You know, I don't know how was she in other books?
Well, she was also in the Mr. Mercedes TV show, which has had 3 seasons now. But it's same character, different actor. Completely different actor.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it is too bad. I think the one in The Outsider is better, but neither one are nearly hits the character in the books.
I was wondering about that.
Holly Gibney are much better.
There are points in The Outsider where I'm like, oh, this character could be really something, and then it just doesn't continue long enough.
Right.
It's weird. There, I episode 9 is a real nasty cliffhanger, so I'm like, I gotta watch it. So
yeah.
All right, I gotta get on that. I gotta get on that.
Okay.
It's a good show. It's a show worth watching.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I watched. Oh God, did I bring it up the last episode or not, or maybe some other night? Tom Huddleston.
You
the Night Manager.
Oh, yeah,
you brought the Night Manager with you, Laurie.
Yeah. I finished that, and it was okay.
Was that a short series?
I like it's 8 episodes, 10 episodes, something like that. It's an adaptation of John le Carre's I guess book of the same name. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, it was a little lacking. It's not as good as Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy or anything of that nature. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately. I
rewatched for the first time in a long time Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I can truly say I've been watching some of the Marvel movies here and there. I watched Ragnarok, and I watched Avengers: Age of Ultron, which still isn't good. Winter Soldier holds up. That's just a really fucking good movie. I don't know if either of you have seen it in a while, and I thought about John when I watched it because in the beginning he fights Batroc, the Leaper. The Leaper. But no.
It's been a while for me. I think I saw it once and then once again, like within a year, and then never since.
I'm a bit burned out on the superheroes, so I've avoided a lot of the CW after that god-awful Crisis on Infinite Earths they did. And
I couldn't even finish that. I watched 3 episodes of it.
Well, you didn't miss anything because that's pretty much the story right there. The rest of them
there's 2 more, right?
Yeah, well, they peter off. What happened to the story?
And then they had that lame tie-in to the 100-page comic book.
Oh yeah, it was awful. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing was the cameos to all the other aspects of film and TV that they've done with the characters. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed some of those, but the end of it changes the CW shows pretty heavily. But I haven't gone back to any of those shows after the fact to see the final result because I'm just so bored of it all.
I guess I was reading very recently they fired Brandon Routh, or just like they got rid of the Atom, and he didn't know. I guess he went back to film after
They probably couldn't pay him.
Yeah, they just let him go. But I would have.
Because
That's
they
the
gave
one.
him Superman in the Crisis show.
Well, because he was Superman.
He played.
That was kind of interesting.
He played 3 roles
Yeah.
in Crisis, 2 different Supermen, and then the Atom.
What a shame that he didn't get a chance to be Superman again. I liked him. I liked him as Superman. I know that a lot of people say he was just doing a Christopher Reeve impersonation, but I thought he was good. There was elements of that movie that were not good, but I thought he was good.
Oh, I thought he was a great fill-in. Once you don't have a guy like that, here's a guy with presence. He's got a good form. He pulled off the character really well. He just got stuck in a negligible movie.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, when Superman is like hovering outside of Lois's house, like watching her, it's like I didn't know about that.
Stalker Superman.
And then his kid lifting up the piano. I don't know. That movie is and Kevin Spacey. So it's problematic. Bryan Singer. That's a problematic movie all over the place.
Oh, is that Bryan Singer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brandon Routh recently came out and said that Bryan Singer was a dick to him on that too. So they're all just piling up on Bryan Singer because everybody's just tired of his shit. All right. So what else? So let's talk about comics a little bit. What are some of the comics, John? I know you said the other day that you went back and you had been reading old series from Boom. You finished up or filled in on
Farscape.
Yeah.
Well, I was missing issue 19 of the ongoing Farscape series, so I didn't read anything after that. Although I had all the other issues, I just was waiting to find that issue 19. And,
what was the total run there?
Total run?
Yeah.
Hard to say. There were 24 issues of this series. There were previous miniseries, and there were some tie-in series. So,
you were missing 19, so you missed 19 through 24 then.
Well, I had 20 through 24 sitting here waiting to be read. I just needed that.
But you got 19. Yourself a 19.
I did. I finally got an issue 19 and sat down and read it and enjoyed it. And
finished the series
all over again. Yeah.
And that was written by Rockney O'Bannon, right?
It was a quick read. Yeah, he plotted it out. Our previous guest of the show, Keith R.A. DiCandido, dialogued
That's right.
The scripts. Oh God, what the artist's name was? Bill Sylvie. I don't have him in front of me, so I pull him out. He did really good interpretations of the characters. Nice thick line. Very there's another artist very similar in the way they R.G. Taylor. If you ever see that guy's work.
I think so.
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
Yeah. Very, very good at likenesses.
Mm.
So that's nice.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you like to read a lot of the licensed books like that?
Nope, I do not.
No? Okay, because I don't really do that myself. Even if I like a show, I typically don't pick up the comic like The Orville or even Star Trek or many of those things.
Star Trek is hit or miss, and it always has been. Let me think here.
Who is it that does a lot of those? Is it IDW does a lot of those, or Dynamite?
IDW, Boom, and Dynamite do a lot of licensed material.
Yeah. It depends on who has the license at any given point. Farscape, though, one of the reasons I really dove into it was because Rockney O'Bannon was part of it. He said that this was a season that they were developing that they were never going to be able to film at any given point anyway, because just the special effects would have been incredible. Plus the sheer amount of characters. There were a lot of throwbacks to earlier episodes, a lot of characters coming back from earlier episodes. And this took place after, do you remember, John, it was like a year after?
I never finished
the show had ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very close.
The problem was a lot of the spin-off series that they did. There was like 3 different Dargo series, which were not very good. So you had to pick and choose. You could find that some of these things just weren't good, but the ongoing Farscape story was really good. And when they got into this ongoing 24 issues, which, you know, if the sales were higher, they probably would have continued it, but it was solid. Very, very solid.
So what brought you into that then? If you weren't so much a fan of that kind of stuff, was it that you just love Farscape, or was it writer or artist?
I know I love Farscape, and lacking any future Farscape, and having O'Bannon say this is not necessarily canon, but this is something we probably would have done if we had the money to do it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then to be able to, it's one of the things one of the reasons I met Keith DeCandido was because of this show, this series. He did such a good job with the dialogue. You could hear the actors' voices in your head as you read it. And that impressed me to no end. And I went up to him at a New York Comic-Con and I was like, I just want to tell you how great the series is. And he's like, you know, I'm not writing it, right? I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm talking to you. You're the man putting the words in the characters' mouths, and you're getting the nuances to the speech patterns of the actors even. It's just that's high praise. You know, there's a reason that guy is hired to do some of this stuff.
You can actually hear Ben Browder's like talks like this. You can actually hear that little
just some of the crazy dialogue that comes out of his mouth, like, you know, when he never pronounces anybody's names properly,
right.
That kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And they do away with a lot of characters that kind of make you surprised. So
that's very cool. I do the same thing with licensed material. Is if the original people are involved in it, I'll tend to go to it. Like years ago, I think it was IDW. I could be wrong, but the creators of Jericho did a comic series.
Oh yeah,
and it was based on the scripts that they planned on season 3 and 4. So it was like the closest you're going to get to ever getting season 3 and 4.
Right.
I did the same thing with Buffy early on because the original Dark Horse Buffy seasons were originally written by Joss Whedon, and he was saying this is what we would have gotten if we did a season 7 and 8. That's when I tend to like these things. And I know, well, who knows when they're coming out, but Dark Horse has been doing something very cool recently. They're supposed to be coming out in June, so who knows when, the original Dan O'Bannon script for Alien, which was totally different. That. Yeah, totally different than what you got. They're doing a comic series based on that, like a 4-issue series.
I think I saw that in the last previews.
Yeah. And they're doing it for the original script of Predator, which was also totally different or very different. It's like a 4-issue series. I like stuff like that. I like to it's like being able to read the original script, but now it's in the world of comics. You can actually you'll get art with it, and you get to see what the original idea. Well, look at the fucking alien. This would have never worked on the screen if it looked like this piece of shit. So I'm cool with that.
I tend to avoid that kind of stuff. If it's interesting enough, I'll pick it up. But most of the time, I'm not that interested. A lot of these licensed things now really annoy me. They're taking up valuable shelf space. So some guy can do a comic book story on Cobra Kai. You know, I take a real target onto that one personally. It's just such a waste. You got a show that's only 2 seasons in, for crying out loud.
Yeah, there's a Glow one. I like Glow, but there's a Glow one. Like, who needs that?
That one, I can almost see it because that show is kind of comic booky, but it's like, why do a continuing series? Just do a one shot, you know, here and there. I don't. These poor retailers have enough to do. Now they got to carry. Well, they don't have to, but even wasting any money on this stuff, where a person, the 3 people that read comics that also watch that show are going to try and pick this thing up. I think that's it's a waste. Not me.
We read comics and we watch that show.
Never do that.
Speaking of reading, Lloyd, what have you been reading lately?
Oh, geez. Well, I'm caught up on all my regular monthly books. So I started going into my short box in my closet saying, well, what have I put aside here, you know, that I haven't just read? A couple things. One is The Dreaming, except I haven't really started that again because, as John had mentioned in a tweet or a text or something, that they hadn't released the last one yet.
And you may be waiting a while.
And right,
Yeah.
so if I'm going to be waiting a while, I don't want to read a whole mini series and then not read the last issue. So I held off on that.
Oh, so
But
it's not
I did
just
pick up.
it's not just the latest issue; it's the last issue.
I have
Is the
all
one
of
you're
them
waiting for? Oh, that
except for the
sucks.
last one.
Yeah.
It's the last issue of the. I don't know what they're doing here. So they cancel the series at issue 20, only to put out a 12-issue miniseries immediately following it.
Right after.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense to nobody.
I don't get it.
No.
But I'm going to hold off on starting that. So what I did start, and you're going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry," I did start to read Doomsday Clock.
Yeah.
Just because it's sitting there, I paid for the damn thing, and I just want to get it down into my log.
You know, Lloyd, John and I had to suffer through this thing called Countdown to 52.
Yeah.
I've told this story. Told this story more than once. I donated a lot of my countdown to 52 to children's hospitals, and I didn't help those kids at all. they got sicker.
I believe I took my 52 issues of Countdown to 52 and I donated to my cousin's library that she's part of so they could turn them into wallets. So,
Excellent.
That was terrible. That was terrible.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
52 weekly issues, Lloyd.
Well, this one's only 12,
52.
so I can sweat it out.
Yeah.
I'm already
well,
on
it's gonna
issue 3, so
Well, it's only 12 issues, but it took 52 weeks to come out. So
yeah, exactly. Probably more.
No,
all right, what else?
so
You read anything else?
Yeah, so I got a few things. So I did go to Dan's last week, and I bought 2 trade paperbacks that I wouldn't have normally bought. One was the Immortal Hulk, Volume 2.
That's a good story.
Yeah, so I did read some of the back issues of Volume 1. So then I went on to Volume 2, so I read that, which was okay. You know, I'm not totally enamored with it, but it was pretty good. It ended better than it started. And then I picked up the Ice Cream Man Volume 1. That's an Image book.
Yeah, Clay from BoomTube keeps going on about that.
Right, so I figured, you know what, I'll get to give it a shot. It was called Ice Cream Man Volume 1 Rainbow Sprinkles. And I did enjoy it. It was only 4 stories. It's by W. Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo, neither of which I know who they are. But, you know, it's kind of like
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
Zone-y. It's like just a Twilight Zone-y sort of every issue is a one-shot. You know, they're tales of sorrow and wonder. They kind of have different genres. And then there's the common thread of the Ice Cream Man himself. He can be whatever he needs to be in each issue. A friend, a god, a demon, whatever the story needs. That's what he is.
So it's kind of a horror anthology almost. Okay.
Yeah, every story stands on its own. And I will probably buy Volume 2. I liked Volume 1.
I read a couple issues that I had not read yet of Comics Tribe Sync.
Oh yeah, I read all that. Yeah.
One of them in particular that really I had not read yet that really floored me. It was largely no dialogue. No dialogue. It was where the girl is being chased down by the clowns in the junkyard.
Yeah, with the rain.
And it's a torrential downpour, and the clowns in the blue van that are like some of the villains of this book, these maniacal gang clowns that try to make you into one of them, are just terrorizing this young, you know, probably 30-year-old woman, and it's her fighting back against them in the middle of this junkyard in the middle of a rainstorm. And I got to give the guys John Lees, the writer, and Alex Cormack, the artist, particularly on this one. It was so fucking good. It was so well done. And then the next issue. Yeah. And then the next issue I read was this really weird issue about a couple on a first date. And it turns out that they're like a dom and a sub. And while they're doing their stuff, their house gets, the woman's house, there's a home invasion, and just shit gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
If you've never read Sync from Comics Tribe, very small company out of Massachusetts, I totally suggest that. And I read the first issue also of John Lee's Hotel. Did you read that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I did not read it. No.
It is also going to be an anthology series.
Okay.
Every issue, it's just about these people that come to this hotel and the things that happen to them. In the first issue, is
Is it
about
very dark, just like
Yes.
that other one?
yes. The first issue is a pregnant woman running from her abusive husband, and she ends up at the hotel, and it gets fucking weird. And that's from a newer company. John, help me out. It's Axel Alonso's company. What is that? AWA? You've heard of them?
Oh, the one with Bill Jemis?
I think so.
Ridiculous. No, thank you. I've avoided all those comics because that guy should not be in comics.
I enjoyed
sorry.
this comic. I enjoyed
I
this.
like John
comic.
Lee's.
Yeah.
He's got a weird mind. He's got a lot going on up there.
That pile of human stain, the fact that he was able to get
Not
so
John.
many people wrapped up into this comic book company, I'm just waiting for the day that it collapses under its own weight. Because that guy has no idea what he's doing. He ran Marvel practically into the ground. He's going to do it with everybody else. So
I do remember him at Marvel. It was rough. Yeah. I do remember that.
Nope. No, thank you. Because Straczynski's there too, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to read another Straczynski book. Nope, not from that company. No, thank you.
Jeez.
Whoa.
All right.
Got some real feelings there.
Lloyd, anything else?
Yeah, I
You
got
anything
more.
else?
I definitely got more. So another book that I had bought months ago and just never got around to reading it was called Little Bird. It's by Image. It's beautiful. I love this book. It was by, again, Darcy Van Polgeest. I guess he's a filmmaker. He's been maybe like Sundance Films, things like that.
Sounds pretentious as fuck, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just Darcy Van Polgeest.
And art by Ian Beltram, colored by Matt Hollingsworth. That was also Image. It was really good. So it was about like Canadian rebels fighting to take back their home from like the U.S. has become this like theocratic, religiously sort of based United Nations of America, and they're basically just trying to take over the world, it seems. And like this, they got this little pocket of resistance up in Canada. So the one of the leaders of the resistance gets captured, and then she tells her daughter, who is Little Bird, that she's got to lead the charge. And beautiful art. This guy Ian Beltram is really amazing. He's got kind of like, I won't say like Frank Quitely, but it's kind of like short, scratchy lines, and the coloring from Matt Hollingsworth is amazing.
He's good. I know him from other
Full
stuff.
of texture. Yeah. It's like there's a dichotomy on the page. Like there's beauty and there's grotesqueness and there's like calm and violence, and it's just a lot of really cool stuff going on.
Come on, Lloyd.
Really
Tell me you're reading something by Rob Liefeld. Give me something really stupid.
Come on.
No?
I like the little more peculiar stuff. Anyway, so that was 4 book issues. They were like almost double thick books. I think it finished up either late last year or early this year. And his next book 2 of this, is going to come out. Well, it was initially intended to come out in 2020. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see for sure.
But even the first book just alone was worth it. I believe that's out in hardcover now.
I started Lazarus today, which I had
great story.
I had bought years ago at Boston Comic Con.
Lloyd just got wet.
Yeah, Greg Rucka
and Michael Lark. And man, I'm only 2 issues in, and it's one of those, I don't want to say rare cases, but it's one of those, the world building is so fucking good in this book.
Let me tell you something.
So good.
When you get to about issue number 8, you will feel like this has been going on for like 30 or 40 issues.
Yeah.
That's how good the world building is.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you right now,
amazing.
I'm enjoying that immensely so far. Lazarus.
Yeah. Right now he's publishing that quarterly.
Good. I can catch up. I got the first 3 trades. So
you got about 3 or 4 years of monthly, and then he's going quarterly.
All right. There we go. John, anything else? Anything else you're reading? What else? What else is out there?
I got a shit ton of books I've been reading. I just
give us some.
So I started picking up a book called Gung Ho from this tiny little company called Ablaze. I don't know if you know who they are, but they're fairly. Yeah, they've been around for a couple of years.
Previews.
Yeah, they're the guys doing the not Conan book that's coming out.
The Conan titty book.
Yeah,
the sex book. Yeah,
yeah. But I've been reading Gung Ho.
Some pants will be ablaze.
It's called. That book is called The Sumerian. By the way,
because they don't have the rights to the name Conan, and it's a weird little situation. But so this book, I don't know if it's called Gung Ho where it's originally been published or whatever, but it's pretty good. It's a weird post-apocalyptic story set in, I believe, in Europe still. But I'm gonna murder these names. But Benjamin von Eckartsberg,
Holy Christ,
is the writer, and the artist
Hangs
is
out with Darcy McFlarty.
yeah.
Thomas von Kumant. So I don't know if they're Dutch, if they're German.
I pronounce it Thomas.
I believe the comic is printed in France though. So what we're getting is translated stuff. The art is beautiful. It's this weird pseudo-realistic cartoony style. It looks kind of painted, but it also looks like it's digitally rendered at the same time. It's pretty.
French comic books have a really unique look, right?
Yeah, they definitely do. The only drawback to this is because they're printing it in our format. Comic tends to end in the middle of something that's going on, so it's not a cliffhanger ending. It's just like, okay, where's the next?
It's a drop off.
What the hell just happened here?
It's a universal horror movie ending.
Yes, exactly. It's not very well edited in that way, which makes me think they're just chopping up a graphic novel of some sort, or however they publish them over there, and trying to fit 32-page format comic, and not thinking about what they're doing, and it's too bad. It's a good comic though. I tried it out, and I've kind of gotten wrapped up into it. It's on what are we on, issue 4? I guess 3 or 4. So
it's not an adaptation of the 1986 Michael Keaton movie about the American automotive industry. No. And it's also not a solo G.I. Joe story about the G.I. Joe Marine with the Semper Fi tattoo on his chest.
No, definitely not. It focuses on 2 kids that are exiled from one territory, sent up to the northernmost territory, where they have a hard time fitting in, and it's slowly building up what's happened to the world and what's going on. There's some kind of mutant creatures that they have to protect their cities or city-states against, and that kind of thing. So it's interesting to see where it's going. But I don't know. I've really enjoyed that. I've been reading a book called Heist: How to Steal a Planet. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No,
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's God, I forget if Black Mask maybe, or Aftershock. I honestly forget now. I should look these things up beforehand. Yeah, it's okay. It's a little different, because it's an alien planet and they're actually trying to steal this planet. There's a lot of crazy creatures, and think of it like an ultra sci-fi. It's an Ocean's 11 set in, some fanciful science fiction world. So, and they're trying to steal a planet, and it's slowly building up to its conclusion. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing thing or what, but the characters are pretty interesting and the art's fun. I like that one. Have you guys tried out 20XX at all?
I bought the first issue.
Yeah.
And maybe the second, if they both, that's the Luna brothers, right? Or one of the Lunas?
It's Joshua Luna.
Okay. I love the Luna brothers.
Yeah. Well, they
split up a while ago. Yeah.
I
bought the first 2 issues. And once I realized that we were in this whole thing where nothing was going to come out, I put them aside, because I'm not going to remember 4 months from now what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, you probably won't. It's pretty heavy stuff. Lots of words. It's a lot
I'm
of
good with that.
It's a very wordy book. So
I'm reading a very wordy book that you might enjoy, John. I know you're reading it too. I started digging into the IDW Transformers book.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. It is the definition. I'm on issue 7. The definition of a slow burn.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, our friend G.I. Gary doesn't like it. And when I mentioned to him, I think I texted him that I was reading it, and he said something like, try not to fall asleep. But
I love it.
Is that one that was included in that Humble Bundle years ago?
No, this is the new one.
I bought that.
No.
Oh, okay.
IDW did a bunch of series years ago that were all in some way, shape, or form entwined in the same storyline, or at least it was that universe. This one here is a reboot, and it takes place on Cybertron. The Decepticons don't exist yet. Optimus Prime is not Optimus Prime yet. He's Orion Pax still. Rubble is the first. He's a new character, and you're seeing it through his eyes. He's the first Cybertronian made in 100 years. There's a murder mystery going on because the first murder has happened in hundreds of years. And you could see all the pieces coming together. Optimus Prime and Megatron, or Orion Pax and Megatron, are still friends, but they're on opposite sides of the political coin. But the first 7 issues, not a lot happens. You're not going to get action.
Yeah, it sounds,
but you're getting a
slow.
lot. You're getting a lot of character building, and it's pretty good.
Let's just say this: the action spikes up right around issue 10, and while there's little bits of slow pacing at parts after that, the tension just keeps ratcheting up. The guy's really good at doing a slow burn. I really like it. I've enjoyed it just for the character driven stuff, and because it is predating the Decepticons, and it's going to be the inception of the Decepticons. That's what you're getting into here, and it kind of
Decepticon.
Yeah, there's stuff going on that you really have to bend your mind to. So
the current story arc, which is coming out now, which now, issue 22 or whatever, is called Rise of the Decepticons. And they're just a political movement at the beginning. And it's not, it's a good book. I enjoy it a lot. It's very character driven. And like John said, you could see where they're building towards, it's a pressure cooker and things are going to just explode. Good book, though.
Pretty much does.
All right,
it's one
John.
of the first things I read every month, so
I just wanted to throw that in there while it was in my head. What else you got, John?
What else have I got? I don't know. I'm just not a lot of stuff. Yeah, well, Knights of the Dinner Table. Well, I'll always mention that. That book is always consistently good. Not an art-driven book. This is a comic strip, basically done in comic book form, in a magazine for gamers. But characters are so solid at this point. You're on issue 273, right? 272, 273 just came out. So we're closing in on 300 issues of gaming greatness.
Wow. How often is that? Monthly?
Monthly. There were a few problems with shipping last year due to Jolly Blackburn had some physical ailments that he had to deal with, so that slowed the production of the comic out. And then unfortunately one of the Kenzer company, the producers of the comic, the one of the guys behind Kenzer company, Steve Johansson, passed away. Oh God, what was it? A year ago or so, just about. So it was a real shame. Not a year ago, but a few months ago anyway. And that slowed things down too. So things are progressing.
Yeah.
So I love the Knights of the Dinner Table and all the craziness that goes on there. If you are ever interested in reading any of it, it's all been reprinted. So all the strips are reprinted into collections called the Bundles of Trouble, and I think they're on to volume 60 something at this point. So
wow. Wow.
And you can buy them digitally. They do PDF volumes of them too. So everything is available digitally, or as they call it, the Dead Tree version.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up the comic talk, get the show wrapped up in a few minutes. But let's, real quick, I'll start with Manster. Why don't we give one thing right now out to the people out there that are quarantined, that are maybe not working, that are looking for something to do? Give them something maybe that we haven't talked about, a movie, a show, a book. John's doing a thing to his pee-pee area. What would you say? Check this out. Like if you wanted to say binge a whole season of something, what's a show you would recommend to people right now?
I just recently watched this with my wife. I didn't know what to expect, but I actually kind of liked it. It's called Killing Eve. It's a show that's
Sandra
on
Oh.
ABC. Yeah, Sandra Oh.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And some other lady I'm not familiar with, but it's she's like a I want to say detective, but she's not really a detective. But she's involved in this international assassin who is this other lady. I think her name is I don't remember at this point. But they both sort of discover each other through the course of what's going on, and they're both infatuated with each other, and they actually meet. Even though the one's trying to capture the other, they actually meet. And they start scissoring, And
Oh,
they don't scissor.
Ah.
But it comes very close to that. They're actually in bed with each other at one point.
Now, did you enjoy
pretty
it,
good.
or did you just enjoy?
I did enjoy it. No,
Okay.
I did enjoy it. I saw all of season
I
1.
can't do it.
I believe 1 or 2 episodes of season 2, and season 3 just came out this past Sunday.
And where are you watching this?
It's on AMC. You can
Cinemax.
stream. No.
Silk
You
Stockings.
can stream the first 2 seasons on Hulu right now.
All right. I'll go next. I'll say I went
And
on.
it's only 8 per season, so it's pretty short.
Oh, short season. Season. All right. I will tell everybody that I've been rewatching. I'm almost done with season 1, Kids in the Hall. I
love that.
I don't know why I never bought it before, but I had been watching sketches on YouTube because there's a Kids in the Hall channel, and I was a huge fan years ago, and just watching sketches here and there, laughing. I look it up on Amazon. It's $32 for the whole fucking run, the whole series, everything, including there was a mini series they did like 10 years ago called Death Comes to Town, which I never saw. That's part of it. So with the news that they're going to be coming back, I think next year on Amazon, they're going to do another season of Kids in the Hall. Obviously not kids anymore, especially if you've ever seen some of these guys. Dave Foley is not a kid anymore.
No, those guys are not. They're not young anymore.
No, they're not young.
Old men in the hall.
Yeah.
Scott
Thompson. Yeah.
Thompson. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all a little bit older. But yeah, I picked up the first season, and the last couple days I've been watching episodes here and there, and it's just as funny as I remember. The one thing I will tell you is, much like any sketch show, even though they're a smarter sketch show, yeah, I'm crashing your head. There are some unfunny sketches in there. There are some that were like,
they can't all hit.
Man, there was one yesterday I was watching. It was a single sketch with Mark McKinney. And I thought, how the fuck did they say that this was good enough to film? But you got to figure they probably have to fill up time. And 80% of their stuff is really good. So Kids in the Hall, complete series, go to Amazon, and you can order that up. And that's 5 seasons plus a mini series of goodness. So, John, what do you got?
Lots of stuff, really. I mean, I pretty much devoured every episode of Time Team. So if you're into that kind of stuff,
what the fuck is that?
I don't even know what that is.
Time Team was a English archaeological dig program that they did for 20 seasons.
Wow.
Now, of course, 20 seasons over in England, that's like 10 episodes.
2 years. 2 years, yeah.
10 episodes, or give or take. But they did 20 seasons plus specials, which I haven't watched all of yet. I'm still figuring out what I missed. Really, really well done stuff. The Americans should just be watching some more British programming like that to figure out how to do stuff properly. But I would say, just because I brought it up earlier, I just dig into Farscape. That's some of the best written science fiction.
That's one I bought last year.
Oh God,
great show.
And it ends really well. I thought, even though the Peacekeeper Wars was a shortened season 5, ends really well. I thought they did a really good job with what they had. It's got compared to a lot of shows that are ended prematurely or on purpose or whatever, this one had a really positive ending, and I liked it.
Let me ask you something about that.
Mm-hmm.
I did purchase that whole Blu-ray set, and I've watched about maybe 3 or 4 episodes.
Oh, the first season?
Of the first season. How long would you say before the show really hits its stride?
Halfway through the first season.
All right.
There's a key that turns somewhere in there, and you'll feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the first season, you're hooked.
Yeah, the first 6 episodes, the way I look at it,
they're rough.
You're going through the eyes of the main character, and you're meeting all these people, aliens, for the first time. So it's a lot of character setup in those first few episodes. But yeah, once you start getting into the scare-ins and all that stuff,
just as soon as, basically, once Chiana is on the show, it takes off.
Yeah.
She was a huge addition to the cast, and her personality really works well against everybody else. But it really, it's halfway through the first season. Once they get past the whole Crace chasing Crichton thing.
Yep.
Because that that's really hard.
I'm
to
assuming
swallow.
these are like in the 22 episode range.
Yeah,
right?
give or take, they're about 22.
Yeah.
It was done really strangely though when it was on Sci-Fi, and I do mean Sci-Fi.
Yeah. Not Siffy.
Yeah. It was. I forget if they did the whole first season the straight up way, or did they? It was like halfway through the season, it ended. There was a break, and then they would start new seasons up in like January against other shows, which were reruns. But the show also was offset because it was a very international show. England and Australia got the episodes before we did. So people would be bitching, be like, "Oh my God, did you see Farscape?" And I'm like, "You sons of bitches!"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially an Australian production, right?
Yeah,
Filmed in Australia.
Absolutely, and that's another reason why you get the production values are a little different, particularly in the first season. The audio is a little weird, and there's a reason for that.
Well, Ben Browder always sounds dubbed to me. Like
the whole show is pretty much dubbed.
Yeah, like he's dubbing his own voice over again. Ben Browder on that show always sounded like it's him, but it sounds like this weird, like it doesn't match necessarily. It's hard to describe.
Most of the show was dubbed through the entire run of it because of where their soundstage was next to another place that had a lot of noise, and they couldn't get the noise off the audio track, so they had to redub. Like every episode was redubbed almost completely.
It was next to a giant bowling alley.
Yeah.
Strikes all the time. Strike.
But yeah, the show really takes off. He's the lead
main character,
Crichton.
John Crichton.
All right, okay,
great show.
Who I didn't like right away. The show was weird. It was set up in this pack of shows that the Sci-Fi Network was trying to do as all original programming, and this was the only one that caught for me because the rest of them were not good. And I think Stargate was one of them, and I didn't watch Stargate then. Or no, wait, not even. That was later. Poltergeist. Remember that?
There was an Invisible Man. There was an Invisible Man show. There was
a show with Tracy Lords on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was not very good.
Garbage.
Yeah. Farscape was the only one to really keep going. Although Poltergeist, because it was from a different network, it was on one of those syndicated networks, had big audience coming in, and that went on for another 2 years, I think, before it got canceled. But Farscape was great.
Yeah,
still is.
Great show.
I hope that the movie
I'll be checking out more of that.
Actually happen. I recommend it because you'll see the production values go up. The puppets get better.
Yeah.
The voice timing gets a little bit better. The audio gets better. You'll like it.
Yeah, no, I like it. I could tell that it has to go to another level.
Yeah, it gets there.
The way you guys talk about it, there's no way it could be at the level it's at now as much praise as you.
Most shows don't. Most shows don't start at that level. One of the few shows that I ever thought started at a super high level was Lost, because the pilot of Lost is one of the best pilots ever.
Yeah,
and
great.
It's so immersive and it gets you so involved immediately. Come on, John, you got to agree with that one at least.
The episode that dragged me into that show was when they first reveal the numbers.
Okay, Desmond.
No, Hurley.
Hurley. Oh, right, yeah.
When Hurley finds the numbers first, and I'm like, oh, this show's bigger than I realized.
All
Oh
right.
God.
So
that was good.
This is episode 131 of Pint of Comics. 3 years, guys. Sad we can't be in the same room and have a beer.
Yeah.
It's too bad, but 3 full years.
We'll be back.
April 23rd, 2017, April 23rd, 2020. Thank you to every single person out there that has been on the show, that has contributed to the show. I want to say thanks to Lou, Gary,
Thank you,
Chris, obviously you two guys, myself, the six pack, Lindsay, everybody that's been on the show, everybody that's been on the radio show, which the radio show will be hitting its 3 year in June. So then obviously that's been put on the hold for right now. Thank you to everybody that's listened to even 1 second of Pint of Comics. We appreciate it. And guys, you got anything else to say? All right.
See ya.
That works for me.
Dead pause. It's great.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.